Hello and welcome to Headliners, your first look at Thursday's newspapers with three comedians. I'm Stephen Allen, and tonight it's like the Tory leadership race. We've got two right-wing types and no one will be describing it with the word cleverly. Jonathan Cogan and Nick Dixon.
How dare you?
Going?
Yeah, I may not be clever, and I may be very right-wing. Actually, wait.
You agreed with the whole intro.
Yes, it's perfect.
Yeah, spot on.
No, I'm not. I'm a narco-capitalist.
Oh, I'm glad you dressed up for today as well.
Yeah, I owe the nation an apology. I'm sorry for wearing my kimono. It was very polarising, and the fact that it upset people really put me in a state of glee for a couple of days. So thank you for writing in.
It upset me. I don't
You were worried.
I don't watch the show, but people sent me screenshots.
Yeah, it wasn't great. I did flash part of me that wasn't meant to be flashed, and that was almost totally accidental, so sorry.
Apparently it played really well on radio.
The radio... Well, we didn't say anything.
That is how
More
people
kimonos
prefer
to
it.
come.
Yeah. Oh dear. Well, let's crack on and take a look at the front pages. We start with the Eye, which goes with "Workers get right to flexible working under new Rayner law." Express says winter fuel pensioners now face tax raid. The Telegraph goes with £25 billion tax rise pain on way, warns IFS. The Guardian, PM's vow to end austerity needs £25 billion of tax rises. The Sun, Swiftgate. Home sex free gig after pressing for VIP cop escort. I think that was a sentence. Finally, the Daily Star, thank heavens. Shame on the tea-making scumbags. And those are your front pages. We'll start with, this is a bit of a shock to go to this newspaper first. And normally we use proper newspapers, but to find this story, we've had to turn to the Metro, Jonathan.
Very surprising that this was the only paper to have it on the cover, but let's get into it. Well, actually, let's do the little story first. There's a lady called Lupita, how I came to embrace the way I look. I think she came to embrace the way she looks because she's a very attractive woman, and it kind of works. If you're hot, that is hot privilege. So good on Lupita.
Do you struggle with your hot privilege?
It can be a burden. Sometimes it gets me what I want. Sometimes people say I have the face of a date rapist, and it makes me feel sad.
But accurate, so fair enough.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's wrong. It's just it makes me feel sad because it's
I
true.
was wondering what would make me want to move on from that story onto the main story, but you found it.
We haven't started yet.
Yeah?
Oh, right. Okay, the main story. Let's get it back up. Oh, it's behind me. Leadership contest shock. Tory fight veers to the right. So hardliners Badenoch or Jenrick will lead party after vote clangor KOs Cleverly. So James Cleverly has become the final candidate to be ditched by MPs in the race to become the Conservative Party leader, which comes as quite a shock, as only yesterday he was the favourite. He was the favourite with the bookies, he was the favourite in the papers. Something has gone wrong, some kind of shenanigans, tactical voting gone awry. That's what I understand, and that's the extent of what I understand.
That's the beginning and end of it. Yes, indeed. Some people are saying, did he lend votes to Jenrick, or did he lend them to Cleverly? All this kind of lending. Don't lend your vote. Just vote for who you want. Be very, very simple about it. I got it right. I don't know, all the pundits got it wrong. I'm from comedy, and I get these things right every time. I backed Jenrick since the start. I said he would win. I still think he'll win. I said this ages ago. He's the only one that's really serious about tackling immigration. These candidates like Cleverly and Tugendhat, they're Lib Dems, they're pointless candidates. The Tories are over if they go. I'm sure they're nice guys. Cleverly is a good speaker, but it's a pointless direction for the party. So Kemi and Jenrick, to me, were the only serious contenders, and I think Jenrick's the best option.
I suppose the unpopular thing to say around here would be if you become like a version of Reform, you could win those 5 seats back. But you're not winning back the 60 seats lost to Lib Dems. Maybe they do need a little sprinkling of Lib Demness in there. Yeah,
and that's the tack to the centre argument, but it just doesn't really stack up historically, as people like Jacob Rees-Mogg have pointed out. Thatcher, there are many other examples. It doesn't seem to work for the Tories trying to be the Lib Dems. I mean, they even did the coalition, didn't they? That worked out okay for them, but it doesn't generally work for them. I think they've got to take that Conservative ground, be strong on immigration, and just Jenrick wants to retire Farage, and he could. I mean, Farage has been mocking him, saying he's got no charisma and all that, but I wouldn't underestimate Jenrick. He's a serious dude, as Farage was saying earlier. In fact, when Cleverly was sort of apparently going around on a bit of a victory lap, he was hanging out with Boris at his book launch or whatever, just feeling like he'd got through. Jenrick was on the phone, hustling, making sure he had everyone's vote. So I wouldn't underestimate.
Lending out votes left, right,
exactly.
and centre. That's some succession stuff there.
Yeah.
Really, like tactical voting. It's never going to go well. I think it happened. Yeah.
Also, don't lend more than you should. Did we learn nothing from the subprime market era? Don't overstretch.
Quantitative
in the lending.
voting.
That's exactly what they got into. There we go. We solved it. Nick, lots and lots of news on the Telegraph.
Loads of news, Steve. You've come to the right place for news. So, I mean, there's so many stories. They've got the Cleverly story as well, Cleverly out of Tory leadership race as tactical voting backfires. They've got this Wimbledon thing about line judges being axed for AI, so they're getting rid of the remaining humans at Wimbledon, and then soon you'll just have sort of robots playing tennis and not, any humans involved at all. That's the ideal.
Just Pong. Just watching AI play Pong.
Essentially, yeah. And loads of other stuff we can get into. The main one is 25 billion tax rise. Pain on way, warns IFS. The Institute of Fiscal Studies, Steve, is saying that they're going to have to, if Labour are going to avoid spending too much, and they're going to avoid austerity, they're going to protect public spending, and avoid austerity, they've got to raise taxes, this absurd amount, and the tax burden they predict will come to 37.9%. And because it's the Telegraph, they managed to sneak in blaming immigration and public sector pay rises, which, of course, I agree with both. And they point out what we all know, that Reeves is planning to go after pensions, capital gains and inheritance tax. So lots of fun there.
Yeah. So
I don't know how to make that comedic. It's a comedy show, isn't it? So it's hard to banter about economics.
Can I interest you in a
Steve's got one.
I got one. So look, maybe they'll go for capital gains tax to just try and divest now, and they'll go for an inheritance tax to try and die early. Nice. It's the way to protect your funds. There you go.
We were actually talking about how we'd end it earlier on.
We were, weren't we? That's our
what did you
pre-show
go for?
chat.
Yeah.
Talk about how we
morbid stuff. I think everyone's a bit stressed about the upcoming budget. I know I am, because this is the first year I've really known what it is, if I'm completely honest, and I'm not super psyched about it. I've got designs on renting for many more months. I don't want to.
Many more months, yeah. You keep having that avocado. You won't have to worry about it at all. All right. Well, we can move on now to the sun. What's it shining upon?
The Sun is illuminating Swiftgate. Cooper admits Wembley jolly. So the Home Sec's free gig after pressing for VIP cop escort. So the Home Secretary watched Taylor Swift for free days after urging the Met to give the megastar an unprecedented VIP police escort. So Yvette Cooper and hubby Ed Balls took the £170 Wembley freebies from Swift's music label Universal. So this does seem like a bit of I guess is conflict of interest the right word? Taking free tickets from Universal only to then provide a private police escort for Taylor Swift. They just love getting free stuff. They really, really like it. They enjoy a freebie. Can you really blame him? Actually, I think this is third-tier policing they've introduced now. There's the third tier is Taylor Swift level policing. So
why are they also into Taylor Swift? I mean, she's all right. It's like, if they were going to like Leonard Cohen, I know he's dead, but something like that. Just like, do you have to all be such, I don't want to say Philistines, it is, it's decent pop music.
It's de jure.
But yeah, I mean, they're all just like, really? It's meant to be the adults back in charge, but their favourite singer is basically a teenage girl's choice. She has some good songs, don't get me wrong.
She's fine.
They're all, it's just a bit embarrassing. Yeah. But I can see why they want to be in with Taylor Swift, because she has 283 million followers on Instagram. I checked. That's like 4.5 UKs, if you think about it. Right? Yeah. We're about 67 million. It's absolutely insane. Think about 280.
That's wild.
Yeah. She's like a country. She's like a continent. She's like America. She's virtually as big as America. Isn't that incredible?
Do you not love this angle to the story, which no one seems to be talking about, that she got the policing that Prince Harry wanted? And all this proves is that Yvette Cooper does not want to get any free Prince Harry tickets.
Right.
That's what we learned.
Signed copy of the book.
Yeah, she's not caring about that.
Not at all.
That's the way this really boils down to.
Of course. She's no Harry fan. But, allegedly, I don't know. There's also one more story on the front cover. Wokies cancel Robin Hood. He wears tights, loves trees, takes from rich, gives to poor, leads men and maids. But still, the woke mob have cancelled him. And that's because woke people don't like any kind of men being merry.
And finally, Nick, what have we got this is the newspaper that counts, The Star.
Yeah, thanks for bringing this one in, Steve. It's shame of the tea-making scumbags. And it's what happens is your workmates offer you a cup of tea and you think, oh, that's nice. But they're not being nice, Steve. What they're trying to do is accrue an extra 8 days a year by taking time to make tea, I think, and it accrues to this 8 days. They're calling it 8 days holiday. I don't think that's really holiday.
No, where did you spend your holidays? At the tap.
Yeah, pretending to like my colleagues by offering them tea.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Does it work out 8 days? I'm not even...
Seems a lot.
Down. Yeah. How long
is that, 1 hour? 1 hour? 3 minutes an hour? Steve, you're a numbers man.
Yeah. Well, I still think the smokers are worse than tea drinkers.
Okay.
They get to leave the building. That's closer to a holiday. It's still not on holiday, but it's not in the...
Haven't they been banned now?
We used to have to get
Smoking.
further and further away from the building.
Right.
The more laws.
We're all just trying to relate to having workmates, really, here, right? Because we don't really come in the evening and there's people around. We don't know who they are. You say hello, they don't say it back. And you're like, I kind of work in an office, but not really.
You technically made me a tea earlier because I couldn't get the tap to work.
Right, that's true.
Yeah.
Although nor could I. But we both stood there wasting up to 8 days a year.
It felt like that anyway.